so much for joining in. Dr. Judy, WTF, What the Freud here. And tonight is really an ode to my dog who passed away on September 19th, 2021. The love of my life, soul dog, Simon, who many of you who have been to the Psychological Healing Center have met. And as a matter of fact, I think that he was really my partner in healing. And so for those of you who have lost a pet or are losing a pet, those of you who have lost a dog, cat, guinea pig, horse, really any pet, you know that our pets are like family. So it is a call-in show tonight. So this is a show dedicated to pet lovers and people who understand the unconditional depth of a dog and a cat and any animal's heart. So let's delve into how important our furry friends are, our furry family are. And I'll just talk a little bit about Simon because he was so important to me. And for those of you who have never met Simon, he was a beautiful chocolate labradoodle, although he looked like a chocolate lab, and he had the most soulful, beautiful brown eyes. And more than that, I believe that Simon was an empath. And when people walked into the Psychological Healing Center, they immediately drew comfort from his presence just because animals are so good at what many human beings unfortunately lack, which is a sense of connection, a sense of empathy, a sense of really tuning in to our feelings. So I talk a lot about healing human disconnect. And for me, there's nothing more healing than the love of an animal, unless you are fortunate enough to have a person in your life who's warm, connected, empathic, emotionally healthy, giving, synergistic, a real growth partner. If you have that kind of individual in your life, whether it be a spouse, a friend, a coworker, anybody, then what a fortunate thing for you. And there is my beautiful, beautiful Simon. It's really raw for me to even see him because I feel his presence. And if you look at his expression in his eyes, you can get what I mean by that connection and that soulful, unconditionally loving presence that he has. So thank you, Simon, for being my champion, my partner, my healer, my best buddy. Sorry, I'm gonna cry. It is what it is. And Simon had the best life. And I hope that if you have a dog or any kind of pet, that you give them the best life possible. And what is the best life for a dog? Is lots of love and attention and exercise and good food and cuddling and eye contact and the kinds of things that we talk about so often on this show and in therapy, the kind of good emotional stuff that makes for secure attachment. Dr. John Bowlby, father of attachment theory, talks about eye contact and skin contact and the ability to attune and mirror. And although they have no words, they go beyond words because they're able to offer that to human beings. What a wonderful, wonderful role model our pets are for unconditional love. And so please call in if you've lost a pet. This is a serious, serious loss. Our pets are more than pets. They are our family. And so oftentimes when people grieve pets, other people, especially people who do not own pets or not pet owners, may think, well, you know, what's the big deal? You'll just get a new dog or a new cat or new whatever. Well, it just doesn't work that way because they really crawl into our hearts. And so just a little bit more about the emotional impact on me. First of all, if you're a pet owner, you're probably attuned to your pet and you can sense when they're not feeling well. And in my case, Simon exhibited signs of not feeling well by his decline. Simon was 13 and a half years old, which is pretty old for a labradoodle. And he was in pretty good health. Why? Because I walked him and I fed him well and I gave him vitamins and brushed him and tons of affection. And he had a nice warm bed to sleep in, and he had everything necessary for his well-being. Toward the end, there were signs that he was slowing down. He slept more. He started isolating on the last day of his life. I knew he was dying because he sat outside in my backyard and wouldn't move. And I brought him in and put him on his bed. And I just knew that this was it. And just want everybody to know how difficult and important it is to be there till death do us apart with our pets. In Simon's case, I took him to the vet, and the vet confirmed that he had a huge tumor in his abdomen, and we had to put him down. And so I stayed with him through the euthanasia process, which was heart-wrenching. Speaking of hole in the soul, hole in my heart, I felt it. It was profound. The grieving was very profound, but I could tell you that when you allow yourself to enter that deep, deep zone of grief and make that deep final connection with your pet, it really, really grows your heart. And I could feel him in my heart today. So for those of you who are about to lose a pet, I suggest that you not shy away from that ending, and that you stay with your pet. And it's important for your pet to know that you're by his or her side. And this is a call-in show, everybody. So please do call in and share with us your grief if you're going through that, or your fears if you have that, or anything about your connection with your pet. It's that important. And I want to read an article by Dr. Dana Dorfman on the health benefits of pet love. Lots of people are on antidepressants or anti-anxieties or some form of medication. And I often recommend that people, before they get medicated, turn to pets for their primary source of emotional regulation. There's nothing better than contact with an animal, far superior than anti-anxiety and anti-depression. Of course, if you must be on drugs to soothe your nerves or regulate you, by all means, please follow what you think is best for your emotional well-being. However, what I find is that people who have a dog, and let's say they're considering an anti-anxiety medication, and they decide to get a pet instead, fare really, really well. Pets are wonderful, as you know, as emotional support. They calm you down on airplanes. They calm you down just going out into the street. Of course, they are creatures that keep us safe. I now have my beautiful German Shepherd protection dog, Sarah, who protects me tremendously. She's a very different creature than Simon. Super energetic, really high maintenance, really playful, very loving, and very protective. I wouldn't exactly call her the healing dog at the Psychological Healing Center. I would call her the protector of the Psychological Healing Center. Nevertheless, we know that different pets have different personalities, and whatever your pet's personality may be, it's your job as the mom or dad of your dog or cat or guinea pig or hamster to really offer that creature the utmost in care, because again, they cannot talk. So what does that mean? You have to tune in. You have to assess their needs, their need to go to the bathroom, their need to quench their thirst, their need to have affection, their need for exercise. And if you are really a good pet owner, then you'll understand that the most important need that pets have is a lot of exercise. Is that a call-in, by the way?
We have a call.
Well, thank you so much for calling, and welcome to Dr. Judy WTF. And what is your name, please?
Hi, Dr. Judy. This is Robert, and I saw your
Hi.
hey, your fellow dog lover, and your mind map graduate. Yes, the
Yeah,
title just melted my heart.
I know, Robert. We exchanged pictures. Robert and I have known each other for
Mm-hmm.
years, and your beautiful dog has saved your soul. And so, of all people,
Oh yeah.
of all people, I know you understand this deeply. And so, maybe speak to people out there who are lonely or are anxious or depressed, and now that you had the honor of having your beautiful Jean as your source of
Mm-hmm.
unconditional love, maybe you could speak to what Jeannie has done for your emotions.
Yeah. Well, after I've done the mind map, I knew that I got everything out in the open, and I did all my personal psychological cleanup.
Yeah,
And there was still that little, I guess you could say, something missing.
sure.
I turned about 40 years old, and this was right during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I guess you could say my parental instincts kicked in. I guess
Mm-hmm.
I'm putting that in my own words, but
Mm-hmm.
knowing that unconditional love is the most healing force in the world was
Yep.
one thing,
Yep.
but then actually feeling it is
Mm-hmm.
is is a totally another thing. So I remember when I picked her up
Mm-hmm.
and I got her, it was just love it. It was truly love at first sight, and it's been
I
a
know.
year and 8 months, and it just is more and more healing and just a happy and blessed feeling. I mean, I make sure I tell her that I love her every day.
Every
And she's
single
with me
day.
right now. Every single day I come home from work and I take my nap during the day because I work night shifts. And she's with me right now because I have to be up in a couple hours. And I made sure I set my alarm so I can um, tune into this lovely topic. And I'm
Thank
sorry for
you,
your loss with
Robert.
Simon.
Oh, it's so sweet. And yeah, I really do have a big sense of missing him. Amazingly, interestingly enough, my German Shepherd Sarah hasn't missed a beat, and she doesn't really seem to miss him. Although I have a neighbor's dog who used to bark with Simon every morning, and my neighbor just sent me a picture of Snoopy, and Snoopy just sits at the top of the hill waiting for Simon, and he's got this just waiting for Simon to engage in this whole barking game they have. And it's, like, we don't really get it, how much animals not only affect the owner but the people around us, the dogs around us, and in particular the patients who come to the psychological healing center. I remember one particular patient who was so traumatized by life, and I asked him what I could do for him and what he would like, and he wanted a blanket, a cup of tea, and Simon. And that's what he wanted. And that's how we started the therapy. And the presence of that dog in this room, and, I should be so lucky as to have another soul dog again. And certain dogs are just, they're, I don't know, maybe they're old souls. We don't know that other side to life, but I did feel that he was an old soul. And in the case of Jeannie, Robert, I've seen you light up. I mean, the pictures you send me and the expression on your face,
Yes.
and just, it's just
Hmm.
transformational. So you're right. With all the mind map therapy and any kind of therapy, we still need what we need, and we need
Just
unconditional
feel
love
it.
more than
Yeah.
anything. Yes.
It's been and I actually was looking just up. I did so much research about dogs since I got her, foods and just you name it. And one of the number one reasons it's out there people get dogs is because they make you happy. And
Yes.
I come home from work and I'm mostly dealing with physical stress from my job, not more
Yes.
mental. And even if I come home and I just feel a little bit hunched over, I feel my age kicking in. She's right there with the tail wagging and those
Right.
big green eyes, and my
Yeah.
heart just melts. And
Yeah.
I do a total 180, and I'm just so happy. And it's a blessing, and it's it's beautiful. I send you those pictures and of her, and she's just so adorable. And
She
some
really
dog breeds are
is.
more affectionate than others.
And
A lot of dog breeds are more.
so yeah, some breeds are definitely more affectionate, and it's stay here. Maybe you could chime in. I'll tell you all the benefits that I've received from the many dogs that I've owned over the years, and maybe my shepherd has gotten me out of the house the most because she's a very active dog and she needs lots of exercise. So thanks to my dog, I hike more. Thanks to my dogs that I've owned, I'm calmer. Thanks to my dogs, I feel much more depth and open heartedness. Thanks to my dogs, I have to tame any narcissistic tendencies like, I want to sleep in, or it's all about me because I've got to get up and feed my dogs. Thanks to my dogs, I'm a healthier person because research shows, and I want to read a little bit about this article, the health benefits of pet love. So it's big. Companionship, connection, sense of purpose. It buffers depression and anxiety. Of course, it mitigates loneliness, and it offers comfort. I speak a lot about my grandson, and I remember when I got my shepherd. Of course, my grandson was already in love with Simon because who wouldn't be? He's just so gentle. Sarah was and still is a challenge. And at first he said, Grandma, you got the wrong dog. We need to get another dog. And then I said, Alexander, I'm sorry, but Sarah's my family now, so we can't just, be the throwaway society.
Yeah.
So, right, we can't just throw away our dog because the dog isn't behaving.
No.
So this year, Sarah and Simon have become immense friends, and now Sarah and he cuddle, and she's the best dog in the whole wide world, and she's a protector. So we all know that each dog brings gifts with to the human being. And of course, just to go on a little bit, it says here that they did a study with 2,000 participants between the ages of 50 and 80 and reported, I'm just reading off here, by Michigan Medicine and the ARP, that 9 out of 10 respondents concluded pets were helping lower their stress. So can you imagine? It's lowering their blood pressure, it's increasing the dopamine, it's decreasing the cortisol level. In case of autism, children who are turning in within themselves, they have found that children on the spectrum improve their social functioning when they expose these children to guinea pigs, interestingly enough. And then there's also that guinea pigs, who would have thought? And that horses, equine therapy, apparently horses have a sensitivity to people. So if you're suffering from anxiety, depression, isolation, and so on, consider getting a pet. There's so many pets that are sitting in shelters, and they're so scared and so lonely. And I joke with my patients, and I say, well, before you take your Ativan or your Zoloft or your whatever it is, why don't you get a pet? And if you need to take Zoloft, just Name your pet Zoloft and try that for a change. And if
Yeah.
you have to have medication, I'm not going to put that down. It's just that let's try plan A first. It's good for you and it's good for the rescue of that animal. Anything else that you want to add insofar as the quality of your life and how it's changed as a result of your beautiful dog Jeannie?
The quality of my life has changed intensely. I'm smiling a lot more. I'm happier.
Mm-hmm.
It's for which I can't. I haven't said that in years. That there's a different type of I guess you could say almost like a revamping into my childhood. Like there's that playful side of me that I kept hidden, and just being more of a happier person and looking forward to going home and seeing my dog waiting for me and taking her for her walks. And I do have she does she does have separation anxiety, and that's pretty challenging for me to deal with. I think she was neglected her first couple months of life. So when I leave, she barks a lot. She's afraid that I might not come back. And because of COVID, it's been.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, she cries a lot, and then when I do come back, she just jumps on the furniture and her heart races. Like, and I just assure her, like, I only went to the corner store, and but she gets very emotional when I leave, even for a minute. I try to put the TV on or some clothes on they say if you leave the clothes, they smell your presence, and
right, they smell your presence
right here with me.
Well, I really appreciate you calling in, Robert, because I know that you have a lot of empathy for me at this time because you knew how close I was with Simon, and I definitely have a big missing in my life every time I look down at his doggy bed and he's not there. It's going to take a while for me to heal, and people have asked me, well, don't you want to get another dog for yourself and Sarah? And the truth is, I'm not ready yet. I don't think I've given myself enough healing time. So for those of you who are grieving a pet, it is just like grieving a family member. So give yourself time. You don't have to rush and get another pet and wait. And maybe when the right time and the right opportunity shows up for you is your time to invite another pet in. So Robert, thank you. Keep sending me your beautiful pictures, okay? And
I wanted to say something to the audience, that if anyone is indecisive about getting a dog, they're thinking about getting one, but they're just not sure, or if they have the image of a replacement, which you can never replace a beloved pet. So that's totally out of the question. If you just walk into an SPCA and have an open mind and an open heart and no expectations, so you will be drawn to the right one for you. I mean, I do believe that when you just let it, give it to God, give it to the universe, you'll be drawn to the right one. Just like I'm drawn to you. They find you, and you find the right one. And
thank you.
It's just a beautiful, refreshing. Yes, and I am sorry for your loss. You're a beautiful person, and you have all that love. And animals are, especially dogs. I mean, it's so, it's a blessing. There's a reason they're God spelled backwards.
Yeah,
you
for
just
sure. I
feel
think
that.
about that. Yeah. Yeah, no, I appreciate
you
it,
did
Robert.
an episode years ago. Yeah, I just had to just tell you how much I feel your pain, and it's beautiful that you're doing this towards to Simon.
Thanks,
and
Robert.
I'm sure he's in the room with you. and
It
just,
totally
you know,
is.
blessing you and watching over you.
It
So
totally is.
it's been beautiful talking to you, and
Thank you as always, Robert.
I'm looking forward to hearing the rest of this show. So
Okay, okay. I really appreciate your expression of sympathy and your encouragement to the people listening to consider a pet. So I know we'll speak soon and appreciate your call, Robert.
absolutely.
Okay, take
Yes, have
care.
a beautiful night.
Thank you.
Take
You do
care.
the same. Thank you. And you see, when you're getting a pet or you're considering getting a pet, you really have to consider your schedule, you have to consider your environment. Obviously, you have to consider things like your allergies, the time that you have to allot to your pet, family members. For me, I have to consider things like how much energy do I have and time do I have to get away and take my dogs out for hikes and walks and so on. And I make it a priority to do that because I know that when my dog has had plenty of exercise and or when my dogs, that was just 2 weeks ago that I had dogs. I still can't believe that I'm down to one dog. You just I talk a lot about narcissism, as you all know, and narcissism is a system where the parents put their own needs before the children. And in the case of pets, you've got to consider that the pet's needs have to be up there because they can't do whatever they want. They are lifelong dependent on you. So if you live in a small apartment, it is so important that you don't challenge their bowel movements and bladder control and you take them out often. And if you live in an apartment and you have a pet, and if you have a balcony, maybe you could set up the balcony so that they can go out there and do their thing and not suffer. And so really it's like having a child. And so if you consider having a pet, then go through your checklist of what kind of pet suits you. Some people are cat people because they need a low maintenance animal. Some people are dog people. Some people are happy with a bird or guinea pig. Some people live on a farm and love to have horses. So you know yourself better than anyone else. It's just that from a mind map perspective, if you look at panel number 9, which is our planet Earth, you can see that we're the three dolphins swimming through to the planet Earth represents mind, body, and soul. And from a mind, body, soul perspective, we're all interconnected, no matter whether we're human beings or we're animals and human beings. We're interconnected. So it's really, really important that we respect all species on the planet, our plant life, our animal life, human to human, and to come full circle and have a healthy experience of life. It is so important to respect our planet and the inhabitants of our planet. And if there are any other calls, I'd like to hear from you. If there's anybody out there who has recently lost a pet and you're grieving a pet, I want to speak to grief a little bit more. For me, it comes in stages. There are days that I'm okay, and then I'll think about Simon and I'll burst into tears. I haven't dreamt about him yet. I'm sure he'll show up in my dreams. I think my deepest grief was when I held him when he was euthanized and I did not leave his side, and I just allowed myself to go into my deepest level of grief. And it was both painful and I don't know how to describe the words, heart opening. It was a heart opening, heart wrenching, heart opening experience for me. So I think grief comes in different stages. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, Dr. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, talked about the 5 stages of grief. And I remember when I first had that notion that Simon was dying, the first reaction was, face the music, he's dying. Boom, it went into my head, my dog's dying. And then I called the vet and went to the vet, and I thought, well, maybe he's not dying. Maybe he's slowed down and he'll recuperate. And so I went into what Elizabeth Kubler-Ross talks about as denial. So I had a bit of denial there, and the doctor said, no, he's dying. And then I again accepted it, but then I thought, no, maybe he's not dying. Doctor, could you take one last ditched x-ray? I want to see what's going on with Simon. And so poor dog, they put him on the x-ray table. I felt really bad about it, but they were very, very gentle with him. And they took one x-ray, and then the x-ray came back, and there was this huge tumor in his abdomen. And then we brought him back in the room, and my friend was there to say goodbye, and my son joined me, and we gave him a big doggy bowl full of water, and he started drinking the water. And then that was my next level of denial. Okay, so you could see through my process how I was processing it. And I said to my son, Matthew, my dog, he's drinking water. That must be a good sign. Maybe he wants to go home. And I said, Simon, do you want to go home? And he just kind of looked at me, and the doctor came in and asked me if I was ready to put him down. And I said, well, wait a minute, he's drinking water. Maybe he's getting better. I'm laughing because I knew that wasn't the case. And the doctor confirmed that just because he's drinking water doesn't necessarily mean that he's getting better. And I really needed a lot of help for that final moment. And I know how much my doctor, and by the way, I just want to give a shout out to the pet doctors of Sherman Oaks and Dr. Santos and all the wonderful people, Ginger and the whole team of people there. They were so warm and empathic. And I asked Dr. Santos, if this was your dog, what would you do? And he said, I'd put him down. There's no point in having him suffer. And he says, are you ready? And I said, well, I'll never be ready. So I guess now would be the time. So please understand that you're going to go through phases of denial and anger and bargaining and acceptance and back to denial. And it's quite a journey, an emotional roller coaster. And when that time comes, it is wonderful to have your son or your daughter, your spouse, or your lover or your best friend by your side. And it's the people who do call and the people who show sympathy that end up to be the meaningful people in your life, because trust me, the narcissists aren't going to really give two hoots. Because why? Because we already know the answer. They lack empathy. They lack empathy. So if you're a pet owner and you sense that your pet is not doing well, then trust your instincts. And if you need to take your pet to the veterinarian and check him or her out, do that. And if it's time to let him or her go, then sometimes the most humane thing to do is to euthanize your pet, because as my doctor explained to me, if I took Simon home, he would just be in massive pain and suffering. And I don't see any light to that. And please, I'd like to hear from you. I know that there are a lot of people out there who are in pain and suffering because their animals are not well. And certainly if you live alone and if you've been through COVID with your animal, then it would be very, very important to understand that pet probably took you through the loneliest, scariest time that we've experienced for a long, long time. A pandemic is not a good time for us to be alone. And I don't know where we would call this stage of life right now. I don't think we're exactly post-pandemic, but if you're locked up and you're feeling alone and you're feeling a need for that connection, then I can't think of anything better than a pet. So if you would still like to call in, we have time for some callers. Are there any questions in the chat room? Anybody have any questions about animals and grief and how to really show your support to people who have lost a pet? Anyone
Well,
out
there's a
there
lot
who?
of people in the chat room that are, of course, sending their condolences to you and
Thank
sending
you
you
very
love.
much, my audience.
Yeah, they're
I love you guys, and you know, and you know, for those of you who've been to the Psychological Healing Center and have met Simon, I know that you love him and loved him too, because he was just a big part of this center. And you know, there's this beautiful picture. You know, there it is superimposed on my door, and I just so sad because it feels like he's just sitting in the background watching the show. And maybe he is. Maybe his soul is
he
watching the
is.
show. He
He is.
is. He
Well,
is.
I found this one. I'm not for sure necessarily it's about grief of losing a dog, but I found this kind of interesting when somebody said about giving a dog or a pet to someone with dementia, cared for by a caregiver. I mean, this is a little off topic, but there's still,
It's on topic.
it's
Yeah.
going through grief of somebody going through dementia or Alzheimer's.
Yes.
What
Yes.
is your take on that?
I think that when we lose our facilities, I think that we still have the facility of the heart and the connectivity of the heart, and we can feel. We may not be able to think, our cognitions may not function, but still we could feel that sincere, unconditional love. I have seen dogs cuddling with their owners who are dying in the hospital. I've seen them cuddling with their owners in convalescent homes, and just the sense of peace. And you know, one other aspect of an animal is they relieve our pain. So pain felt alone is different when your dog is sitting with you, licking your tears and comforting you and looking at you in the eyes. And you know, not everyone is fortunate enough to have parents that offer that level of empathy. And so,
That is
how
true.
lucky when we find a pet that can offer that up to us. It's really, really special. It's really, really, speaking of healing human disconnect, right? Our pets are healing human disconnect. That's what they're doing.
Well, you have 2 calls coming in, so if you want to take another
Okay.
call.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so we're going to take the first one, 817. You're on with Dr. Judy.
Thank you. Hi.
Hello.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for calling in. And what is your name, please?
This is Dee
Oh, hi.
in Fort Worth.
Oh, that's so sweet. You know, Dee, I promised you, I think it was a year ago, that I would call you when Simon passed. Dee is a huge animal lover. And right, Dee, my animal lover, right? Yes?
Yes, that's right.
So nice
I
to
just
hear you.
am passionate about them. I've been rescuing them all my life.
I know. And Dee has the
But
most beautiful little poodle. And is it a she?
Zoe,
Zoe's blind. And I've seen pictures of Zoe. I've seen Zoe on Zoom, and she is just the sweetest. And Z is the best doggy mama for her baby. And I think she's even in diapers now. Yes?
she's in diapers and a t-shirt, sleeping right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know that you've been through a lot and you haven't exactly had the most nourishing human connections on the planet, correct?
That would be an understatement.
Thought
Yeah.
so. Okay, there's the understatement of my day. So tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about how Zoe has. Oh, and by the way, I want to let everyone know that Dee has written a book about animals. Could you please announce your book and where people can get it? Because uh, Dee is a Christian who reads and studies the Bible, and she's actually resourced the Bible to support the importance of the love and care for animals, correct?
That's correct, but unfortunately, it's out of print. That was, it's out of print, and I suppose somebody could probably find one on Amazon or maybe Half Price Books or
Okay,
something like that.
what's the title again, please?
It's called. Okay, the title's called Heavenly Creatures. And the subtitle is The Story of God's Love for His Animals and All of Creation.
Yeah, what a special book to really delve into the Bible from the perspective of love for animals. I think you're the first that I know who has written on the topic, and I'm sure if anyone out there would like a copy, then I don't know, we'll find a way. Maybe you have the PDF file of it. And oh, thank you. Is that the book? Is that what's up there?
Is your last name Ann? Deanne?
Oh, you're good,
yes.
Tony. Yeah, you're
There
good.
it is.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, please, if you want a copy of that book, I'll try to get Dee to send me some way to get it, and you can get that book. And how have you been, Dee? I haven't talked to you in about a year, so update me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm okay, but I wanted to add something. And you I've been trying to get a hold of you, but I had the wrong number from the website to call in. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to add something about dogs and animals in general.
Yes.
But one thing that's real important is they're master forgivers. They forgive anything. They don't hold a grudge.
Anything. No, they don't. They live in the moment. They do. But we can't take advantage of that. We can't take advantage of that. Just because they're master forgivers, it doesn't give us the right. And just, I wish there were more laws against animal abuse. I can't even look at pictures of abused animals. It just kills me. And I'm asking everyone who's listening in ode to Simon and all animals on the planet to watch over them, because we have to be their protectors, just as they are our protectors. If you see an animal that is hurt, help. If you know that there's a pet owner that is hurting their animal or neglecting their animal, please do whatever you can to be that animal's protector. We need to do that. We need more laws, just like we have spousal abuse and child abuse. I wish there was an animal protective services that we can call. Maybe there is one that I'm not aware of, but we need more protection of our animals, because that's how important they are. And for those of you who want to do something different, I became vegan a couple of years ago, and I just have decided not to eat animals. And so I substitute meat for Beyond Beef burgers or some kind of vegan, plant-based something. And so that's my contribution, and no guilt or shame if you're enjoying your steak. It's just that there are so many wonderful ways of eating healthily, and it's just another choice that that people can avail themselves of, and anything that you can do on behalf of animals, I think, is just a blessing for uh, um, humankind, because I think it elevates our soul.
Right. Also, if you think about it, and coming from a Christian perspective, if you look at the characteristics and traits of Simon and other animals, but especially dogs,
Mm-hmm.
you look at the traits and characteristics of God, they're the same. Loving, loyal,
Loving
faithful.
and loyal and faithful. Yes. Was there any particular passage from your book that you want to quote so that you can maybe shine some light on the spiritual teachings about animals?
No, there's not a particular one, but there's many in there. And, just today I was listening to a podcast from a preacher that was doing questions and answers.
Mm-hmm.
And someone asked, did animals go up in the rapture, which is a Christian thing. Some people will know what I'm talking about and some won't.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, the reason I wrote my book is because I got sick and tired of hearing preachers say that animals don't go to heaven,
Mm-hmm.
and there's so much in the Bible, all the way through to substantiate it. But the thing that really sewed it up for me
Mm-hmm.
was that, in the Old Testament, the animal sacrifices, the only thing that was innocent enough to atone for our sins was the blood of an animal.
Very interesting.
I mean, you can't get any more pure or innocent than that,
Yeah.
And that's what God chose, and not to be mean to animals, but think of the special place that they have in heaven,
No wonder you call your book The Heavenly, what was the title? The Heavenly
Creatures.
The Heavenly Creatures. The Heavenly Creatures. Yes. So thank you for staying up and checking in. And I know that we have that special bond around animals. And I remember the last time we spoke, we promised each other that we would let each other know if our beloved pet passed. And so I did text you, and so appreciate that you tuned in tonight. Thank you, and please be in touch with me. Okay, Dee?
I will, and I love you.
I love you too. Thank you. Good night.
That was a nice call.
Yeah. And pets are welcome here at the Psychological Healing Center. My dog Sarah is not exactly the welcoming committee. Sometimes she'll bark, but I right now, because she's just not the friendliest dog, I put her in another area. But if you have a pet and you're in therapy here, it's a pet friendly healing center, and people bring their dogs all the time. I just ask that you walk your pet before you walk in here, so that we keep it free from animal accidents. But I love when pets walk in here, and sometimes people come in a weakened state, and it's important for them to have that emotional support animal by their side. Was there another call that was?
Yeah, we have one more call.
Yeah, please.
All right.
Yes.
818, you're on the air.
Hi. Thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you.
Yeah. What is your name, please?
Hello.
Hello.
Eva.
Hi, Eva.
Hello.
Nice to speak with you.
Nice to speak with you. And
Thank you.
I remember your wonderful help, and something told me to just dial the number and just go on the YouTube and see you. And what amazing story you just talk about, losing your pet. And I was like so touched, and I said, oh my gosh, I have to sort of like cheer you up in a way, meaning that how
Oh,
wonderful position you were, that you
and
were able to say goodbye to your animal.
I was so lucky. Eva, did I meet you here at my home office?
Yes, you did, and with your
Was
beautiful therapist. I
were
remember
you
that.
were you working with Dr. Veronica?
Yes, yes,
I remember
exactly right.
you. I
Yes,
remember you
yes,
well. I remember you well. That is so, it's been years and years, and for you to call in
yes.
and pay your condolences and remember me is really, really special. I remember you well. I hope you're doing well.
I'm doing much, much better. And it's just you talking about this amazing woman who is writing that book, the Christian one. And I was like, wow,
Yes.
I'm also into Bible study. I become a Christian. I came to through this darkness. I met Lord, and I've learned a lot about myself and throughout the
Mm-hmm.
Bible study.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just, I'm like, I guess meant to be that I'm calling. And I just want to let you know that even though it was hard for you to let go of this beautiful dog, I remember him and I love him so much too. He was such amazing presence of love
You
and peace
really,
and
he
safety.
really was. He
Oh
really
yes,
was. It's so
he was.
wonderful.
And so yeah, so I want to let you know that you did the right thing, even though you had a hard time to say goodbye to him. He did the right thing because I loved my animal, and I was severely, depressed and sick, and I was on Xanax and other antidepressants, and
Yes.
my animal was like really. I was about to say goodbye to him. I was about to say goodbye, and my vet told me he's suffering. Let him go, and I say, okay, I promise. Just few more days. I will just say goodbye to him. He was everything I lived for. He was my sense of identity. He was my partner for life. He was everything to me. So I couldn't, bear this thought of saying goodbye to an animal and euthanize him. I couldn't just breathe that talk every single time I was thinking about it. I would cry like crazy. But what I want to try to tell you that you did the right thing, because at the end you say goodbye to him and he was not dying alone. On the other hand, I was so on drugs and all this, and he was crying to go outside. So I let him go outside, and the next I took shower. I went downstairs to see him, and he was gone, and I didn't
He
know what
was gone.
happened.
You mean in your
He
house?
was gone.
He died in your home?
Yes, meaning meaning that he was gone. That when I tried to pick him up from the bushes, he used to lay down there because he was near death, and I knew that
Mm-hmm.
he wants to go out to have a fresh air. And I said, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'll let him go. I'm gonna take a
Mm-hmm.
quickly shower, and I will pick him up. Guess what? I
Mm-hmm.
look for him. He's nowhere to find. I said, what happened? And the next day, my someone is calling me from a shelter. They said, I got your number secretly from someone else who works with us, rescuing animals from your building. We got your cat. I said, where is it? He says, it's in a shelter 2 hours away. And
What?
they told me that if you not, can you imagine? Yes, the lady, the evil person from the building, took that animal knowing it's my animal, and she brought him to the shelter 2 hours away. So I will never get him back. And I was so
Disgusting.
on antidepressants. Can you imagine? I was antidepressants and all this. I couldn't get him. I couldn't get to him.
And
And I
he
was
was
so,
dying, and he
for a
was already
year.
dying. He was
Yes,
already dying.
yes. And
Yeah.
yes, and I told him that I only want a few days to say goodbye to him, to feed him well, and just to just have a few days with him. And I was literally
Mm-hmm.
about to promise to the doctor that I will give him, I will let him to be euthanized because I don't want him to suffer. Please
Right.
understand, he was everything I lived for. He was my reason I lived. He was
Yeah.
no other reason
Yeah.
for me to live. He was everything to me. And this stupid lady, she took, I'm sorry for my words, and she took this animal,
Mm.
knowing it's my animal, took him to the shelter 2 hours away. And
Disgusting.
lady, she calls me from the shelter. Can you imagine?
Mm-hmm.
She calls me from the from the shelter. From the shelter, she calls me. She says, "If you're not gonna come over tomorrow morning," and it was like 10 p.m. at night. "If you're not gonna come over tomorrow morning, we will euthanize him because he's sick cat. we will euthanize him. And my heart broke.
Incredible.
I can't get there. I can't get there. I said, I cannot get there. I am on antidepressants. I'm so high on medication. I cannot get there. I have the side effects. I cannot get there. And so I'm trying to tell you the story that it took me a year and a half to understand what happened. I miss him to this day. And one story I've learned that what you've done was amazing because at least you were with him. You said goodbye to him.
Believe me,
I to this day I regret.
I wrestled with myself, and I wrestled with the idea of bringing him back to the house and letting him die in the home. And then I thought, poor baby, now I'm going to pick him up again and bring him to the car, and he can't move, and he's got this huge tumor. And what am I really offering him? Another day or 2 or 3 of pain? And then, at that point, I had to defer to the doctor, and I knew that he loved animals as I do. And again, I think I must have asked him 2-3 times, should I take him home and let him die? What would you do if this were your dog? And sometimes you just, you want to make the right decision. So you have to get some help.
You did the right thing.
From somebody.
You did the right thing.
Yeah. Thank you, Eva.
Yes, you did the right thing. Totally, you did the right thing, because imagine if you had no chance to say goodbye to him, just like I had no chance to say goodbye. I want him to die in my arms, so he's not scared. Imagine he was there by himself, alone with this animal. It was just, he shouldn't be dying like that when he gave me so much love, and he kept me going. He was the reason I live. I was so angry with myself that I did not let it. You should let him go earlier. Why wouldn't you listen to this doctor? I was like myself, look what happened. I was hurting for a year and a half. To this day, I'm hurting. I think I always will be hurting. But the thing is that I've learned that never do this again. If I have ever situation like that, I will never play like that. I would just listen to the doctor and I say, okay, let him go. And I would never want to be in that position when I was. So I really applaud you for this, that you allow him to be around you and peace, and and that he was happy, that he was with you, that he wasn't
I just wanted to share one thing. He had a sister, a beautiful sister, Sophie, who died 5 years prior to him. And I did the same thing with him, but I chickened out at the end. I was able to be with her until she fell asleep, until she was anesthetized. But I couldn't be there when they gave that final injection. And my son was there. And with Simon, I just decided, you know what? I'm in a good place. I'm going to go all the way, and I'm not backing out. And I'm glad. But it's sort of like a price you pay. Your heart kind of gets torn out of your chest, but the love, like your heart opens to so much love. So thank you so much, Eva. It's so nice of you. I know we're out of time, but
I know you did the right thing, and I'm applaud you. I just want to call you and say you did the right thing, because you did so much for me, and you and Veronica and your wonderful therapist, and I will never forget you. I always think of you. I pray for you. I always send you my appreciation. You're always on my mind. I always think of you, and I just want to say you, because you helped me tremendously. I felt like I want to tell you that you did the right thing, because look, something I couldn't do. I couldn't say goodbye to him, and it ate me up for a year or
I
over.
Hear you.
And you did the right thing at the end.
Thank you so much, and also for your
And I'm
just
so sorry
for your
once
kindness.
again. I'm so sorry for
Thank
losing.
you.
Of
Thank
course,
you.
You're
And
such a special person.
Thank you. You please take care of yourself. Be in touch with me. And I remember years ago our first phone call. I will never forget. So appreciate it. And I know.
Thank you so much.
Yes, my pleasure. Thank you. And I know we're out of time, so please know that that we're around. We have a beautiful team of people. You can grab a free PDF of my book, Be the Cause: Healing Human Disconnect, so you can learn the system. And if you're grieving an animal, then it's not just an animal, it's your family member, because connection is connection is connection. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Good night. And thank you, everyone, for your wonderful words of solace and your condolences. I really appreciate it. Good night, everyone.
And if you've enjoyed my show, please subscribe to my channel. If you need help, please call the number below.